Hi everyone, Katarina here. I'm back with another gorgeous tutorial today for you. In a very recent video, I shared that I have been selected as one of the very lucky winners of Cardmaker of the Year 2023 competition by Practical Publishing, where we had to send in 3 different projects, 2 cards and another paper crafting project, which is a non-card. And this year I decided to send in a clock just like this. The only difference really is the background paper, because I didn't have that exact same one left, but I used one from the same paper pad. Everything will be explained in the tutorial now. So I will show you what I used, how I used it, how I made it. Most of the products that I use are from Chloe's Creative Cards. Probably you can recognize some of them already. The flowers, the glitter and everything is just so blingy and beautiful. I really hope you enjoy this tutorial, and I might even just inspire you to make something similar for yourself or to give to someone. Okay, so I'm very excited to bring you this tutorial, and I'm going to show you now how I made this. So to create the base of our clock, we will need a piece of grey board, which I ordered on eBay, and this is a heavyweight one. Like you can hear it, it's real nice and thick. And this one is the 3000 microns one, but I think the one I sent into the competition was 2500, so it doesn't need to be really this heavy, but these are nice and sturdy. And if you have thinner ones, like even like the backs of some paper pads that you may have, you can just glue 2 of those together and it will create a real nice and sturdy base for you. Now these ones measure already 8 1/4 this way, so I just cut them down to a square 8 1/4. Just cut a piece of this in here, and I got this lovely 8 1/4 square, which I already covered on one side with double-sided tape. I'm going to cover this in paper. Now to decorate this, for the face of the clock I will be using paper from this gorgeous beautiful butterflies paper pad. But before I do that, I need to cover this. To do that, I chose just a very neutral kind of a color, and this is from the range, and this is the Brave Free Wild as the Sea. This is such a gorgeous paper pad. I really love the colors, but what I really like is these neutral sandy kind of colors, and this is what I used to just to cover it all up. Will not see much of it anyway. So I cut this down to, let me find my ruler, I think it's 10 by 10 inches, yeah. This will give it a real nice base, on top of which we will be adding our decorative paper. So to do this, I'm going to remove all these backings from the double-sided tape that I had already covered this in. I just decided to add a little bit of a color glue on this here too. This will make it nice and sturdy, and will leave me with a little bit of a wiggle room in here too. Now I'm just going to remove some of these corners here just to prevent any kind of bulking when I'm going to fold these up. Now I'm just going to very carefully fold these up, one side at a time, making sure it sticks very well before I go over to the next side. Now in the corner you can see a little bit of an overhang paper. I like to just push these in, just like so. Now I'm gonna come over to this side, push this down again nicely, firmly, and push the little corner in, just like so. Now I'm going to pull this side up, like this. And I'm going to do exactly the same on this side. Just push these little overhang triangles in there, just like so. And pull this up nice and tight. Now we have discovered, and this is where I will be adding my decorative paper, but at the back I don't want it to be exposed like this. Obviously this would be hanging on the wall, so you won't see this side, but I like to cover this up. So I took another piece of that exact same paper pad in here, again with these neutral colors, and I'm going to, I don't really want palm trees on this one, I'm just gonna go with this here, and I'm just going to cover this up. And I've cut this one to 8 1/8 by 8 1/8, and this will nicely cover the whole back of our clock up. So I'm just going to add my glue to this. Okay, so now our fun begins. We have to choose a gorgeous piece of paper from this beautiful butterflies paper pad for the face of our clock. Now, I can't use exactly the same paper I used on the clock I sent into the competition because I haven't got it anymore. There were 2 pieces of it in this paper pad, and the one of them I used on that clock. The other one I used on the blue version of the stacked teacup cards that I'd sent in. I will link to the video tutorial below, but I do have this piece strip of paper of it left. Isn't this gorgeous? I might just need to get another of these paper pads. I love these papers. Well, because I haven't got this one anymore, I was flicking through the paper pad and I didn't want anything too busy. There's gorgeous papers in them, but some of them are just a bit too busy, too dark, and just wouldn't go very well. Now I was thinking of this one in here because this has the same colors in it and all, but then I thought it might just be way too busy. So I found this lovely light green one, but then I made up some of my flowers to try it against this, and it just didn't sit right. So I went through and I was trying a few of these, and the one that I really liked was this one in here. Now this is gorgeous with the floral patterns in the corners and these lovely shiny oily butterflies. I hope you can pick up here on the camera. It is such a gorgeous paper, so I'm going to be using this. I thought it might be too busy, but no, when I arranged some of these flowers on it, it just looked absolutely perfect. So this is what I'm going to be going for this clock with. And I'm going to be adding double-sided tape on the edges, and then I will be using my coral glue to finish it off. Okay, so I added the double-sided tape on the edges and some coral glue all over, and now it's just, it really doesn't matter which way I'm going. I'm just gonna be going this way here, and on this again is just the butterflies flying from the bottom to the top. That will give me some kind of a direction on here, but most of it will be covered up anyway, so really doesn't matter all that much. So I'm just going to try to center it as much as I can and make sure I spread that glue out all over, and just leave this a minute to dry. Make sure everything sits nice and tight before I start working on this. The next step we will be doing is making room for our clock mechanism to come through. So we need to put a wee hole in here, which I will be using a drill outside for, or I'll get hubby to do it for me. But first of all, I have to mark the middle of my square. To do that, I just pull a little line somewhere where I think the middle might be, and in here just lining up my ruler from corner to corner diagonally. So now this will mark where the middle of my paper is. Now, before I take this outside to get drilled and destroyed, hopefully not, I want to show you this mechanism which I got on eBay. This will require a AA battery to work, and it comes with this base box. 3 hands for the clock, 1 for the hours, 1 for the minutes, and 1 for the seconds. These little bases and a screw to keep it all nicely and tightly in place. Now I prefer to add all these at the very end once the flowers and everything else is attached to the clock. But I will show you exactly how I'm doing this. I want to walk you through the specifics of these all, because there's all different variations that you can get. So mine has 4 specifics. It's gold, it's 36 millimeters in classic, it's a sweep motion, and it's small, meaning up to 3 millimeter thickness of the clock face. So you can see that everything, all the hands are gold. You can get these in black, you can get them in silver, you can get them black with a red for the seconds. There's so many variations of this from so many different sellers. I prefer to go with the gold. But just a quick idea, I did make clocks before, years and years ago. You can easily color these in with alcohol markers, or you can heat emboss these to sparkly ones with heat embossing powder and your sticky ink. So there's a lot of ways you can change this about if you prefer. 36 millimeter classic, it means it's the smallest one of these for this size of the clock. This is perfectly, but you can get much bigger ones if you are working with a bigger surface. Sweep motion, meaning that the hand for the seconds doesn't do the ticking motion every second, but it just really nicely sweeps through your clock. I absolutely love it, adore it. It's just so cute. I really like it. And I think that's it. So there's all different variations and sizes that you can get these, and just type in quartz clock movement mechanism onto eBay or Amazon and you should be able to find them quite easily. So the next step is I'm going to take this and drill through the middle of it, because this really needs to be done before adding all the flowers and decorations, and then the mechanism can be put through as last. Okay, so I'm back and we've got a hole now in the middle of our clock base. Now, if I can just give one advice, always make the hole a little bit tighter than what you need, and you can always wriggle your way through it. You can see that I still need to add a little bit of a pressure to push this through. I want to make sure that this is not going to be freely moving in it. I mean, you can tighten it up with all the washers and stuff that came with it, but I just prefer to have this nice and tight. Now I'm gonna pull this back out gently, just because I will be decorating my clock before we assemble all that. So I've tidied this up a bit. After drilling, there were bits sticking out here and there, so it's all nice and tidied up. If you see a difference in my lighting, it's because now it's a couple of hours later. Kids came home, hubby came home, had to put them all to bed. So now I'm back to recording, finishing off our gorgeous clock. So, well, I'm going to show you how I made all the beautiful flowers that I made on the one I sent into Practical Publishing for the competition. And I'm going to be using exactly the same things, exactly the same colors, the same products. So I will be able to exactly show you how I made all those gorgeous flowers and foliage and whatnot. So I'm going to start with the 4 largest flowers. There's 4 of them, 2 of them which are blue and 2 of them which are purplish lilac colors. So to do that, I've used Chloe's Summer Flower Trio, and this is a gorgeous stamp and die set and well used. I use it all the time. So the 2 stamps that I needed was the large one, and no, sorry, the medium one and the small one. I didn't use the large this time for this project. So with the medium size, I stamped out 2 on vellum. And to stamp this, I used my Versamark and white embossing powder, and this is the super fine detail by Ranger. I love it. As you can see, it's well used. I had to order a new one now because I'm running real low on it. But that's how I made this, and then I just fussy cut it with scissors. The set comes with matching dies, but I just think that it's quite easy to cut around them with scissors, so that's what I did. Now I'm going to take the hydrangea blend. alcohol markers, Spectrum Noir. And what I did, I turned this on the other side. I'm gonna do it on the white in here, maybe easier to see. And I took the darkest side of this and I just scribbled. I really am not paying any attention what way I'm going. It is going to look messy on this underside, but it's not going to be showing when I turn this round. So I'm just gonna go in like this on the base of the flower, and then I take the middle one and I just blend it all in together. I'm just gonna go right to the top. Of course you can use the third shade as well, the lightest shade if you want, but I think these two just looked quite nice together for this project. So I just done that. I just used the two shades, the darkest ones and the medium one, and I went all around all the petals. And I done this twice, okay, for each flower, two of these. So then I just pinched down in the middle, upwards, just like so. And using my hot glue, I'm just going to glue these two layers together, just add a little bit of that in there. I offset these petals, just like so. And the last layer that I'm going to place on top of this is I used the smallest of the three flowers, and I heat embossed it using the same embossing powder, this time on acetate. Okay, so just a piece of acetate. I'm going to take my fine tip glue, this is a dry clear glue, and I just added lots of little dots on all the petals, just like so. Just very randomly, I'm not paying any attention to which way I'm going. I'm just adding them on all the petals, smaller, bigger blobs. And now I'm going to take this gorgeous pot of glitter, which one is the salted caramel. This is such a gorgeous, like gold, rose gold kind of a color. I really love it. There's so much lovely shine to it. So sprinkle it over. So once I sprinkled on it, I'm going to just shake tap the excess off. And just how gorgeous all that lovely sparkle is. Now I'm going to set this aside to dry, and I already have one in here that I prepared. Just see how the glue is still white in there, and it dries completely clear, so no glue will show once this is dry. So what I did with this next, I'm just going to fold up all these petals just into the middle. All this excess glitter that still moves will fall off now, and the rest will just stay put on my flower. So I'm just going to tip this back in my jar. I'm going to take my flower, again a little bit of hot glue, and I'm once again going to offset these from the top layer, just like so. And our gorgeous flower is ready for now. I will be finishing them off with rhinestones, but I will do that last when everything is already sitting on my clock. So I did two of these using the hydrangea blend, and I did two another ones. Exactly the same technique, except the color that I used was the ice blue blend. Again, the darkest and the medium shade. Okay. So that's what I used to create the 4 large flowers. For all the smaller flowers that were on the clock, there's 2 between each 4 or each big one, so altogether 8 flowers. I used the stamps from the Grande Floral Butterfly set, and I will show you which ones. The ones that I used from these were this largest one and the larger one out of those two, and I also used the little leaf. I have quite a few of those stamped out. So what I did, for each flower I used 2 layers. I hope you can pick that up in there. There's 2 layers of flowers in there, and the same one for this larger one. Okay, so what I did for the larger one, this here, I stamped it out twice, and on one of them I cut the foliage down, so this top layer does not have the foliage, only the bottom one in there. Now I also use vellum and the white heat embossing powder that I used on the larger flowers. So that's all I did, and for this one I stamped it out twice for every single flower. Now I'll show you exactly what I did in here. So what I did with these ones, just let me grab a piece of white cardstock, might be easier to see the colors. Perfect. So I used the Versamark ink and the white embossing powder to stamp them all out. Okay, so for the largest one I stamped out twice this here, but on one of them I've cut the foliage down. I didn't throw that away because I will be using that too. So again, to color it in, I used the hydrangea blend, the darkest one in the middle as you can see, and then the medium shade all around the petals. For the foliage, again I used the jade green blend, and I think it was just a medium one that I used for those. And for my third color, this one here, I used the gold yellow blend. Okay, so I just took one of these flower forming tools and my foam, and I just pressed down the middle just like so. And I'm going to add my glue in here. And I layered these on one on top of the other. I'm not offsetting these, I'm putting it down exactly the same way the layer below is lying, just like so. Press down on it, and I'm going to get this gorgeous effect for the flower. I hope you can see that. There we go. So these are the 4 colors that I used: the ice blue blend, hydrangea blend, gold yellow blend, and the jade green blend for the foliage. So I have 4 of the larger ones and 4 of the smaller flowers. There we go. These are the colors that I will be using. Now for the foliage. For the ones that I cut away from here and this one, I used the white embossing powder with the jade green blend alcohol marker, and I have quite a few bits and pieces of those in here already prepared in my box. So this is how they look. I have quite a few of these that I will be using throughout the clock. And the next foliage that I'm using are these gorgeous sparkly, I hope you can see, pick up on all that glitter. It is just so gorgeous, so subtle. I love that green. So to create this foliage, I used from the Dazzling Foliage set this bit here, and I heat embossed it again with the white embossing powder on acetate. And I have one in here prepared that I haven't glittered up yet. So this is what it looks like, just on acetate with the white embossing powder. Okay, so this is where I can feel the embossing powder sitting on it. I'm going to turn it to the other side. Just apply my dry clear glue again all over these leaves. Now I've seen Chloe, when she's glittering up her foliage, she does it on the other side, and she goes so lovely and neatly all amongst those little lines there, and it's just gorgeous the way she does it. I tried, I can't. It's not working for me. I made a whole lot of a mess with it. So I think these techniques works for me the best. Now I'm just gonna do this for now, because this will have to be put aside to dry anyway. So the glitter that I'm using is, let me see the color, Lime Zing. I think it's gorgeous. It's so refreshing, this color. It really is. So I'm just gonna lift this up. Now, and just to show you, now you can see how white on the underside this still is, or actually this is the upside, the side that will show on our project, how white it is because the glue hasn't dried yet. Once it dries clear, there's a whole lot of a difference. Okay, so this is where I need to set this aside now to dry, and I have quite a few of those already prepared, ready to go. I'm just gonna tip this back in my little jar. And there's another foliage that I'm using, and those are these gorgeous, again from the, let me see, it's easier to see against the white probably. It's again from the Dazzling Foliage set, and this is this berry-like one. Okay, so what I did to get this effect, with my Versamarking and the Nordic Pine from Chloe's store again. This is such a gorgeous embossing glitter. Look at all that sparkle. It is stunning. So this is what I used to stamp and heat emboss them with. And then, let me see, I have a plain one in here. Again, taking my quick grab glue, I just went around all the little berries. And again, the salted caramel, just like so. Tap all the excess off, and this will go and dry real nice and clear. Again, the white glue will just disappear, and all we will be left with is that gorgeous sparkle. Okay, so I'm just gonna set this aside to dry as well. Tip this back in my jar. Don't want to waste all that gorgeous glitter. And what I did to this one, I've cut them down to smaller little branches. This is how I will be using them on this project. So just like so. And as I said, I have quite a few of them already ready to go. So now I'm taking my clock base and I'm just looking which way these butterflies are flying, because that's the real only indication on this paper to which one is the top or the bottom of it. So I'm going to start adding my flowers to it, and I'm going to add them the same way I have done in the magazine. I'm just looking at the picture in here. So the two blue ones will be going on the top and the bottom, marking the 12 and the 6, like so. And then the two lilac ones marking 3 and 9, just like so. So this is what I will start with. I'm just going to use my hot glue gun to add all these. Pretty good to me. Nice strength from the glue gun. Okay, so I'm going to be using the colors the same way, in the same order that I had done it in my previous clock, like that there. And then lilac, and again a golden yellow. Okay, so that's it, looking all pretty good. As you can see, I have lots of foliage left over, but I'm not worried about that because I do use these all the time, and I have a few projects that I'm making in the upcoming days and weeks when I will be using all those up. Now, I was looking at here and something looked weird, as if it was almost not straight, but it is. It's just because the decorations in the two corners of the clock, now it's kind of as if it's pulling it into a weird shape. So I might need to be adding something into these corners, but I'm not gonna worry about that just yet. First of all, I want to add my stickers in here, which says it's time to sparkle. Now, I've cut these out myself from sticky vinyl, but you can stamp in here, or you can die cut any message that you want, or you can print in there. When I first came up with the idea, when I first decided that I want to be making a clock to send into this competition, the idea I had in my head was something along the time is now to create something new, or something along them lines. But once the clock was finished, oh, I said no, it has to say sparkle, it has to be sparkle. So that's why then I just cut out from gold vinyl. It's lovely shiny, it says it's time to sparkle. So I'm just going to be adding it in the middle in there, same kind of a way as I done it in here. It's time on the top and to sparkle on the bottom. It's time to sparkle. I think that looks already so gorgeous. Now I'm going to add my mechanism. I'm not going to add this rubber kind of a washer at the back, because the thickness for this, for the up to 3 millimeters, is, I think, is very near close to the 3 millimeters of the width of my chipboard. So I'm just going to leave that, but it really doesn't need it. If I can make this sit nice and tight, it will not need it. So the next thing I'm using is this little washer, and kind of a decorative place as well for the front. And now there's the screw, which I will try to get on it. Good. Now I like to use just some long nose pliers just to tighten this up very nicely. Make that's much better. Oh yeah, this is going over now. Okay, so now it is time to add the little hands. So the first one that will have to go on is the one with the biggest hole in the middle. Okay, so this is the one that shows the hours, the shortest one. I'm trying to push it down nice and straight, right to the bottom of this. Now I'm going to take the middle one. It is the middle length with the smaller, this is the middle length with the smaller hole in the middle. So this one will be going on top. Make sure you're pushing it on nice and straight again. This might take a little while to get right. I've done this so many times because I did make clocks before for friends and family and stuff. So kind of it takes a little bit of an experimenting with them, but it's doable. It really is nothing too complicated. So this one here, I don't know if you can pick up, there's a little hole on this one, on the little bar that comes out of it. I'm gonna have to push it onto that silver nail thingy, I don't even know what to call it, like a little wire, just to push it on top of that, like so. And now you have to make sure, just keep making sure that they are sitting all nice and firm, because if you hadn't pushed it on nice and straight onto that little white bar, then this will be flopping up and down and it won't work properly. But it's always just quite easy to go back and fix them up, just like so. There we go. Now I had to go and search for a battery to try to see if we can try this out, to see if it works. And there we go. There's that lovely sweeping motion of the hand for the seconds. Isn't that just so cool? I love it. Absolutely gorgeous. And do you know what, once I've added everything that it's time to sparkle and all, I don't even think it needs anything in those corners. I don't want it to be too much. I might be able to add some foliage, like don't know, I really don't know if it needs it. No, I think I'm going to leave it at that. The only thing that I haven't added yet, it is all the rhinestones to go in the middle of my flowers. So there's 2 bling boxes, if I can well recall, I used. So the spring bling box, and I used these lovely gorgeous purple ones for the lilac flowers from that. And then from the festive bling box, I used the blues and the golds for the blue and the gold yellow flowers. So I'm just gonna do that very quickly. Okay, so I think this is it. Our clock is nice and ready, looking so gorgeous and sparkly. I absolutely love this project. I loved creating it the first time, I loved creating it the second time. Now it's looking a little bit different, obviously, because the background paper is different than on the one that is shown in the magazine. But nevertheless, they are both absolutely beautiful. They are both sparkly. Oh, look, this is just moved. I better push it back. I used my acrylic glue for this, so it will take a little bit longer to dry than hot glue would, but it will dry completely clear, so I just prefer using that. So there you go. I really hope you all enjoyed today's tutorial, and if you did, please give me the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet done so. I have lots of more lovely tutorials coming up, and I hope to see you soon. Until the next time, bye!